Hey guys, I'm Nation with another video. I just came in a little high there. I don't know if you heard that. I don't know how high your volume is, but I was slightly yelling in my own way there. Screencast5 would think I was yelling. Anyway, so today I'm doing episodes 8 through 9 on The Owl House Season 2. Very exciting episodes. One that's based around Hooty kind of wanting people to care about him, and the other more plot-based. Anyway, let's get straight to it. Anyway, so first, Hooty's writing to Lilith after she moves away that he's a genius, and he says that so all the family members, well, I guess family wouldn't be the greatest example of words. Were kind of disappointed. King is kind of going through puberty. Eda hasn't slept in a while because she's, worried. And Luce either wants to be in love with Amity ask out Amity or, get a portal home. I'm not sure which she wants more. Anyway, and so, Hooty devises a plan. So he swallows King, and he barks him out. Owl pellets. If you don't know what that is, it is a real thing. It's when when owls. I don't know if you consider it barfing, but they have owl pellets with like bones and all the stuff in them that they've eaten. Anyway, so let's start with demon puberty. There are 3 types. Okay, this is starting to turn into a science lesson for me. I mean, it kind of is a fictional science lesson for part of it, but there's bug, biped, I think it's biped, I forgot how to pronounce it, and beast, and they're testing to see which one King is. So a bug would be Hooty, and a few other of these creatures, and the way bugs communicate is through dance, which kind of makes sense for Hooty, and so King dances, and then it turns out that King's dance represented something about his Hooty's mother. And I know that's just a joke, but does he have a mother? Like, I thought Eda would technically be his mother, but I don't want to get in that. I thought it was a funny joke. Anyway, and so they also test if he's a biped. There's a bunch of examples here. Biped is kind of the closest thing to a human, I would say. And they also have powers. So we see Tiny Nose here. Great character. Think she's funny. Very conspiracy theorist. But I did not know she had powers. That's interesting. Anyway, and so they also to test if he's a beast, they need a large blood sample. And so King's like, I'm ready to figure out who I am. And then they're like, you are you. And hooray, because you know what? Tiny Nose doesn't have the perfect verbal skills. Anyway, so they say the blood test didn't really help with their search, and that they don't really know because they didn't think King had powers. But after all this, and being like talking about how his father left him alone, turns out he does have powers that pop balloons and all that. Very strong powers clearly, but I guess that means he's a biped, so it makes sense. Anyway, and so Tiny Nose, after Hooty got disappointed by this, ruin of the party and like King not being happy, Tiny Nose was like, at least the cake's still good, and he was like, it was supposed to be a crumble, and he's disappointed. So then he tries to help Eda go to sleep, and so he's got like Hooty cookies, and so she's like, dang, Owlboy can bake. She's like, these are good cookies. But it turns out, they had sleeping needles in them, which is pretty much just a sleeping pill, but works 10 times better. But it turns out they don't only put you to sleep, but they heighten your dreams, which is bad for Eda's owl beast. And so we go into her past where we finally see her dad, who's pretty rugged, doesn't know how to cut his hair clearly. I don't want to kind of say anything bad about him right now, but I'm doing it. But so she turns into an owl beast as a kid, and she kind of messes him up. Lots of scars. He's trying to fight back, but he really hurts his eye, which I bet this was a very bad memory for Ida. Anyway, and then we go to another memory. Oh, also I forgot to say, in this other memory of them as kids, Lilith makes a swan, and just as before in previous episodes, she's kind of neglected by her mom on that fact. And then we switch to another memory where we finally see the past of her and Rain. Last episode, I think it was. It was Ida's Requiem. Okay, I'm just going to give up on that. And so we see her past with Rain, which finally answered my question if they were dating or not, and it turns out they were. Anyway, we also jump through her as like an owl beast form, and it turns out there's this, I guess, a bounty hunter maybe, and I think it wasn't supposed to just be representation as like a bounty hunter. I think this might be important symbols and all that, and we might come back to this, or maybe I'm just overthinking that. And then we end up on this island. She gets captured and she's thrown to the water, and then the piece of paper that Lilith picked up to curse her shows up and ends up out of the water, and this guy picks it up. But then Ida wakes up on the beach, and there's this glowing, kind of like the magic in Star vs. the Force of Evil, but it's the potion that helps the monster keep at bay. But it's really just taming the monster, like helping the monster become friends with Ida. But also, I also want to say they are they're tied together. And there's a lot to say about this one scene, and I only have one screenshot, really. So, I just want to say she finally connects with her beast, and that makes her a harpy, which is she actually likes her figure, but Hooty thinks she doesn't, so he starts crying again. And then he tries to help Luce here, and so he's like, she really wants to ask Amity out, she really wants to go home, and he's like, how'd I know that? I suppose I'm just attuned to other people's emotions, but he's just sitting behind her, and all that, while she kind of talks to herself about that. Anyway, so he puts Amity, he traps her too, and so he brings her to the basement, just like Luce walks to the basement that we've never seen before, but Luce does comment on that, saying, we have a basement? And so we get to that, and I just want to say, it kind of reminds me of the Star scene, and but they ended up differently in the end. Anyway, so he guides her through the Tunnel of Love. I already enjoyed this right when I saw it. And so there's a lot of stuff to unpack on this. There's a lot of creepy animatronics. There's a nice little song here. And so I also want to say Luce was trying to knock it all down, because she does want to ask Amity out, but not like that. She's like, she thinks Amity's a little more high class than Luce's, kind of upbeat, way to ask out. And but Amity actually wanted to be asked out on this. She got really disappointed when Luce was trying to, what the heck? Help me. And she got really disappointed when Luce was trying to take it all down, but then Hooty got disappointed again because Luce was disappointed. And then Hooty just gets so disappointed, and they all try to cheer him up by saying, like, Ida says she's happy about what he did for her, and King, he says he's happy about it, but he also says when he's talking to Luce, he's like, pretend that you're happy he was doing this stuff. And so Luce tells him that she wants to ask out Amity, and so she actually does. Well, Amity asked first, and then she was like, I was gonna say it. And we got a cute little image here. And also Hooty was kind of messing himself up, so he was like dragging himself around, and it ended up forming a heart, so that's great. Hooty gets cheered up again, and we talked about it a little bit more. We get just a little bit but a little bit more information from the rat, the Echo Mouse actually, and so there's no like real writing we can really see, but besides the what's in between thing and all the science, I'm gonna be honest, doesn't really help us. And then, he said he had a promise never to help anyone ever again. We got this face smacking on that thing, even though he technically should be hitting all the buttons, but And we see a figure that obviously we all think is King's dad, but we can't say that, so I'm just going to say a beast that looks very uncannily like King, but older. And he drops off a note for King that Hooty eats it. And he's like, because there's a bug on it, and he was like, hopefully that was junk mail. It wasn't junk mail, Hooty. It wasn't junk mail. What's the junk mail, Hooty? Sorry, just a little disappointed about that. Anyway, I spent way too much time talking about how disappointed I was about that. I opened a sliding door there. Thank you all for watching. Wait, I gotta do episode 9. Okay, it's not junk mail, Hooty. Okay, I'll see you like right now for episode 9. Hey guys, I'm on a mission here. Wait, I make these videos together. Okay, so I combine these videos through editing. I assume you might have assumed that. I don't know, but so I kind of make these videos separately. So sometimes I forget I'm not saying "hey" every time. Anyway, I am filming this right after recording this right after the last one. So it's not junk mail, Hooty. It's not junk mail. But I'm actually kind of past that now, because after Amity and Luce got together, I was really excited. Like, one of the episodes before where Amity kisses Luce, I went ballistic. I told everyone in my family, my family is a group of people who don't care about the show, but Anyway, so let's get to it. So first there's some blueprints and a little information about certain stuff like the Galderstones, which is in a previous episode, I think. Yeah. And Emperor Velsa's mask, so we get to see Emperor Velsa's face for, I'm pretty sure, the first time. I'm not filming all these in order. Like, I still haven't filmed like episode 3, 4, or 5 and all that, Anyway, so, and, he sees Hunter spying on him, so they kind of talk a little bit, and the door's making progress. But then we switch over to Amity with the group, the gang, trying to, heighten morale and all that. Anyway, so Amity's kind of taken care of the group now ever since she started dating Luce. Yes, she started dating Luce. Let's go. Anyway, so Ida is trying to turn into her harpy thing again. And Luce is sick. She's got a case of the mold, which is like the cold, but I don't know if it's worse or not. I mean, mold is bad. It can make you sick in the real world too, but I think it's a little different. Anyway, so it's a little like, she's a little, I don't know. She's just strange. And it turns out they kind of have phones, like, in a way. Also, we have another diary entry. And, he talks about Titan's blood and everything about Titan's blood. That's pretty much it. And where you can find it, and that's actually what this episode is based on. Trying to find Titan's blood that can create portals back to the human realm. Anyway, so it starts out with where you can find Titan's blood. Turns out, Kikimora is already searching there. And so the Golden Guard is there too, in a normal outfit because he's trying to hide low, but he still gets caught. And so they take him as a hostage, and as they walk in trying to look for Titan's blood. And so we also switch back to Willow, Gus, and Hooty trying to take care of Luce, and they kind of try to take care of her through Earth stuff. And, Hooty suggests whale noises when, the human expert says that that's not good for you, and he says like music. I don't remember if it's rap or something, but completely off. And then Will's like, "What if we combine them?" And it's just a whole thing. Anyway, we switch back to the regular stuff, and the group is around leaves, I guess, and Hootie. Okay, not Hootie. I'm sorry, I'm getting things confused. King and Ida go kind of, I'm pretty sure it's make a distraction or something. I'm sorry, I watched this episode right before I came here and I've kind of already forgotten. Anyway, but I do remember that the Golden Guard is kind of saying, like, we might as well be a team. Those people are going to get us caught, but Amity's kind of like, I don't want anything to do with you. And so they run off after, the Kikimora kind of coming up, about to see him, but she does find the Amity's lost phone, I guess. We also get another diary entry about Fool's Blood and how his journey, how Philip's journey was a tragic failure and he was lucky to get out alive. I also want to say that if there's a wait, no, I don't have anything to say. So actually, I do. I'm not the first one to theorize this, but I do think it was a good point that it might have been Philip's twin. Philip might have had a twin with him in the Boiling Isles, and he might have died at this point. And I get that because there's two twins, or there's a pair of twins that went missing, and after meeting a witch. But that information comes in episode 9, so it was kind of a spoiler. But I did want to put it out there. Anyway, so it talks about Fool's Blood, which is dangerous. So it's pretty much the opposite of Titan's Blood. Anyway, so they kind of put some mixtapes in, trying to, see if whatever will work for Luce. I don't really care about getting into the filler part, but it's funny. Anyway, so Ida hits Fool's Blood, but she doesn't die. She just falls into a crack, but luckily doesn't die. And Hunter ditches them, Hunter the Golden Guard. And so Kikimora tries to follow them. Oh, I forgot to say, Amity got caught. But Kikimora follows Hunter with more of, Alador's abomination stuff. I don't really know what some good words for it are. But Ida makes a deal with the harpy, I guess that's inside her brain or something. And so when she can turn into a harpy whenever she wants, she eats like 7 things of roadkill, I think that was the deal. Anyway, so she saves them and goes harpy. Anyway, so all the Kikimora and a bunch of abominations and all that are destroyed. And so Amity follows all the destruction. In fact, Hunter kind of going crazy after he sees no Titan's blood there. And also I forgot to say that Hunter claimed that Amity's messages from Luce were like threats, but it turns out it's just about turning the phone sideways, because like Luce said, that's kind of how it worked. And and she's actually saying stuff like, "You are rad, not come back with results or else," And so we see the palisman again of Hunter's. And so, also, it turns out that there's Titan blood in the key, like the portal key. And once Hunter sees the key, he tries to capture it. But, King uses his magic. And Hunter, actually, like we mentioned before, he's half, human. But he actually does have powers, because it's clear he can use his palisman, his real palisman, in the real world. But he half failed. Amity gave up the key, but that was just to protect Luce, because Hunter knows where they live and all that. But Luce was still happy to see Amity, and turns out Amity had Titan's blood on her hand, and so some of it from the key was lost, but Hunter still has some. And turned out alright, I guess. And Hunter is finally enjoying his talisman. So, he's kind of connecting with it, and he can finally start slightly understanding it, how Eda can understand Hootie. Or no, that her talisman. Albert, sorry, it's been a while since we've really talked about him, since like the other Talisman episode. Anyway, thank you all for watching. See you in the next one. Bye!